Everyone except Steve and Mark is wandering through the underbrush carrying supplies to the ship.
It's the wildest sound I've ever heard.
Yeah, there's something very sort of compelling about it.
Excuse me. I must get closer to that music.
At least they were. The sound isn't just compelling, as Dan said, it's mesmerizing. They don't have the willpower not to follow it. I've played almost every Western music instrument there is. I never played one that could do that. Barry tripped a little ways back and got his foot caught. He's only just catching up.
It stopped. The music stopped.
What's happening to us, Dan? Why did I want to come in this cage?
I don't know, but now might be a good time to get out. Too late. I keep telling these people to do stuff rather than stand around and talk about it, but these whippersnappers don't listen to their elders. And I count Dr. Smith among them because if he did listen, he might have a tad better fashion sense.
Steve? Mark? Steve? Steve, he got them. He caught them. He played some kind of music, and they floated into the cage. You gotta help me.
No, back up, start again.
There's a wonderful series of children's books from the 80s that revolve around Jimmy's boa constrictor. They start with a child telling a parent about something crazy that happened at school. Then we work through the story backwards to find out the series of events, they always involve Jimmy's boa somehow, that led to the crazy thing. They're delightful and excellently written, and Steve feels like he's in one right now, even though they haven't been written yet.
I think the kid's feverish, Steve. You sure you didn't eat some strange berries or something out in the forest?
Look, if you don't believe me, you can call Dan on the radio. You check it out with him.
They've seen giants. They've seen aliens. They've seen time travelers. They've seen weird radiation that made things disappear. Yet somehow, when it's Barry telling what he saw, he's feverish or something. Fortunately, Barry has grown up a little since they've been here, and he's not content to sit back and take it anymore.
Dan must have left his transmitter around to clue us. We'll need some grappling rope.
You think you can take us back to your lasso?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Captain, I'm too feverish from eating strange berries. You'd better go find it yourself. Fortunately for them, Barry isn't as fickle as I am. They all dance like I do, which is to say they appear to have no idea what they're doing.
Well, we love the music, but we're getting tired.
I'm sorry, my small friends. I thought you might enjoy a little Terpsichorean interlude.
Good grief, he even talks like Dr. Smith. I have to wonder if Jonathan Harris is writing his own dialogue again. He's hopelessly in love with multiverbal circumlocutions and polysyllabic sentence units. Hence the expression Terpsichorean interlude as opposed to dance.
We'd enjoy it a lot more if you'd let us go.
I wish I could, but I can't. You see, I already have you consigned. Now, get back in there.
The only thing they can do is stall until Steve and Mark get there to try and free them. The best way to stall him? Turn Fitzhugh loose on him.
Excuse me, mister. Whatever your name is, Mr.
You can call me Mr. Piper.
Mr. Piper. Well, that's some flute you've got there. If that's what you call it. A flute, is it?
Some people call it a flute, some call it a pipe. Some call it other things. Depends on where I'm working.
And pray tell, what sort of work is it you do that requires you to enslave others?
You mean which country?
No, I mean which planet, which solar system, which galaxy.
While Steve, Mark, and Barry are approaching, something just clicked in Fitzhugh's head.
Have you ever been in a town called Hamelin?
Fitzhugh doesn't really think that guy's...
Hamelin? Hamelin?
On the river Weser.
It'll take him a while to remember. He does get around a lot, but yes, he was there.
I did a job in Hamelin once about the year 1673. Earth time, that is. I rid the place of a scourge of rats.
The town made a deal with him and then reneged on it, so he took their children. I don't know where he got the year 1673 because the story is centuries older than that. The earliest reference to the story, as far as we know, was a stained glass window in the church at Hamelin that was made sometime in the 1300s. A few centuries later, it was destroyed, as such things have a habit of doing, but the story has been preserved in several forms. They all reached the same conclusion, though. This guy led 130 children out of town, and they were never seen again. An alien with a high-tech instrument could account for that.
Into the streets the piper stepped, smiling just a little smile. And ere 3 shrill notes the piper uttered, you heard as if an army muttered. And the muttering became a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses the rats came tumbling, and followed the piper for their lives.
The piper is amazed and delighted to know he's been immortalized in a poem, among other places.
But if you're who you say you are, how come you're a giant and not our size?
No, I'm not a giant, or a man like you either, or any corporeal form that you would recognize.
You mean you just take on the form of the inhabitants wherever you may be working?
It's nice of Dan to translate for the rest of us. Yes, that's what he just said. They talk a little more, then he packs them up and takes them to a house somewhere.
Are you the senator's son, little boy?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Timmy.
Very well, Timmy. Will you tell your father that Mr. Piper is here to see him?
Who's his father and what does he want with little people?
And so, my faithful campaign workers, let me remind you once again that with Election Day just 2 weeks off...
Father, Mr. Piper wants to see you.
His father is a senator running for re-election, and a handful of captured little people will just about guarantee a win.
I'm sorry, but today I just don't have time to talk to piccolo players or whatever it is you are.
We had a contract, you and I, don't you remember?
A contract?
Yes, you said you would pay me if I could rid the country of the plague of little people.
For all his power and all that, he doesn't seem to know they're a plague of 7, not 4. 8 if you count Chipper.
Oh, yes, I seem to recall you coming up to me at a rally with some harebrained scheme of catching little people. Look, today I just don't have time to fool around with practical jokers.
The price we agreed upon was $1,000 per little person, payable upon delivery.
Look, will you get out of here?
There you are, Senator. 4 of the little vermin.
He can't wait to call the press and hand them over to the SID at a national press conference. The piper couldn't care less.
You owe me $4,000. May I have my money, please?
I need every cent I have for my campaign. I don't have that kind of money to throw around. And even if I did, you think I'd waste it on some nut in a funny suit?
He's a politician, all right, and he has a child. He has no idea whom he's dealing with. But here's a question for us. The piper is a galaxy-hopping alien who's been doing this since the beginning of time, at least that's what he said. He can obviously make all kinds of things happen to suit his needs. Why does he need money? The senator doesn't care what he needs. He throws the piper out.
You shouldn't have done that.
Done what?
You shouldn't have treated the piper that way. He's got a reputation for getting even with people.
He's a bum. He's riffraff. Do you really think he's going to mess around with a senator?
You really think titles mean anything to a guy like him? Fitzhugh has an answer for the senator.
When lo, as they reached a mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as though a cavern were suddenly hollowed. And the piper advanced, and the children followed.
He won't grasp what Fitzhugh is saying, and quite honestly, I have a feeling they're all kind of in the Piper's corner on this one.
You keep your eye on the little people, son. I'm going to make my phone calls in the living room.
The gang tries to call out to Timmy, but all he can hear is the flute.
Hey, Senator! Get in here if you don't want to lose your kids!
What's all this, you?
Timmy. Timmy, come back in here.
We should have let the boy go. The senator would have gone looking for him. We would have an excellent opportunity to escape.
How can you say a thing like that?
He's not wrong, and it's not like they didn't try to warn the senator. Dan explains what's going on and what the Piper can do with that thing. You can't drown it out, you can't plug your ears, nothing stops it once he starts playing. It will reach Timmy, and he will follow it. Whatever it is, there's more to it than just music. That's what they have to deal with.
What can I do? How can I stop him?
I've got an idea. I don't know if it'll work or not.
Well, anything. Please, and hurry.
Well, it means you'll have to open the door to this cage.
Whatever you say.
Dan's idea is brilliant. Record the flute music on tape, make the tape into a loop, and play it backwards. The two clashing melodic lines should cancel each other out.
Father, you're back. Did you make the phone call?
Oh, yes, I did, Timmy, I did.
The senator has the ethics of your average thief, but he does seem to care about his son. My recommendation, go to your wall safe. We know you have one. You guys always do. Get the $4,000, wrap it up in the nicest ribbon and bow you can find, and present it to the Piper with your abject apologies.
He stopped playing and he's going away. You did it. You got rid of the Piper.
Well, Senator, now we've saved your son for you. We'll expect you to let us go.
What? You can't be serious.
Well done, Dan. You just condemned Timmy to grow up with that as an example. Timmy begs him to let them go.
I'm sorry, son. I wish I could, but I can't. You see, they're enemy aliens, and I'm a government official. It's my duty to turn them over to the SID.
It's my duty to use them as props in my campaign to get a few more votes, and it's not like they've done anything for us lately. The senator is veteran character actor Peter Leeds. He's another of those people who has a face that makes you say, I know that guy! And on this channel, we definitely know him. We've seen him in F Troop, My Mother the Car, Honey West, Batman, The Flying Nun. He was all over the place. When he wasn't doing film parts like this, he was doing stand-up comedy. He played straight man to pretty much all of the greats of the classic era, including Bob Hope and Jerry Lewis. Yet again, I'm struck by how, if it hadn't been for people like him doing the steady, mostly thankless parts that pushed stories along, television could have turned out to be a very different animal.
You see, trust a politician. This one would steal corn from a blind chicken.
Now you get back into that cage and hurry before I lose my patience.
You notice he didn't disagree, and his son is listening. One day I was at one of our favorite off-leash dog parks, and two dogs got into a fight, as dogs do. As a result, two owners got into an argument. There were two families, both with small children, and the two guys were about to start throwing punches. As they were standing there staring each other down, I calmly walked over to them and said, Come on, guys, your children are watching you. Think very carefully about what you're going to teach them in the next few seconds. Thankfully, they did. Both stood down and went their separate ways. Too bad for Timmy, our senator is more concerned about his re-election than he is about his son's moral development. And by the way, he saw the Piper walk away and really thinks that's the end of it. Now that the little people know they can't trust the senator, it's time for Steve and company to find a way inside to rescue the others.
Barry, I want
want you to start counting, slowly. When you get to 100, you put a match to this stuff and get out of here in a hurry. Okay?
Right.
Every good rescue starts with a good diversion.
Oh, Timmy, you go outside. Hurry. I'll get the little people. Of course. Now!
The cage latch popped open and everybody's loose and headed back to the bushes.
Dad, some smoking rags in the basement. I'll go throw some wood on them.
All right, Timmy, but be careful.
Shouldn't an adult do that? For a guy who cares about his kids so much, the senator seems a little lax.
Look. Chipper's so happy to see us, he's dancing.
And when did you teach him to do that? For that matter, when was the last time you saw him do that?
Barry, get Chipper inside.
For all their training, education, creativity, and intelligence, our group is a little slow. He's appearing as their size now, and he says, "Why so hostile?"
You turned us over to the senator. How's that for one good reason?
Nothing personal in that. I had a contract. I had to make it good, didn't I?
It's personal to them, dude, and that being the case, wee-wee on your contract, for that matter, wee-wee on any contract that unilaterally usurps another's personal freedom. But in keeping with the overall tone of the show from the very beginning, he's just another bully who gets his jollies making himself feel important by oppressing someone else. So what does he want?
I have an offer for you. A very attractive offer.
Oh, really? What kind of offer?
As it happens, I have the means to transport you people back to Earth.
We'll take it. What are we supposed to do?
We're not taking anything so fast. What do you want in exchange?
Nothing much. Just a small favor. Won't take you more than an hour.
It's pretty simple. Turn off the tape recorder so he can steal Timmy.
His father and I made an agreement. I fulfilled my part of it to the letter. The senator did not. He reneged. I am entitled to recompense. The boy is mine.
There's an easy way to put an end to this. Point out that he didn't fulfill his part to the letter. He told the senator he would rid the world of the scourge of little people, but he didn't. He didn't even capture all of them. So his contract is null and void, and it's time for him to leave. I probably don't need to mention that nobody will think of that. He starts explaining that he takes the children to a special planet where everything is total bliss and a child can live pretty much in eternal delight. Barry says, "But what's the point without your friends?" The Piper has no idea what he means. Emotions aren't a thing he has.
It is I, Mr. Piper. Fitzhugh.
Oh, Fitzhugh, how nice to see you again so soon.
You knew that was going to happen. Fitzhugh makes his deal with the devil. A contract, if you will.
Where are we? For want of a better word in English, we can call it my office.
Ordinarily, he rents it out to the Satacons, but they're on vacation this week. He shows Fitzhugh a sort of gopher hole that will serve as the portal to get back here once he's turned off the tape recorder.
Barry, I'm engaged in a highly secret operation that would ultimately provide us all with a way back to Earth.
You didn't make a deal with that Piper, did you?
Barry, I'm surprised at you.
And naturally, he's going to manipulate Barry into helping him. First things first.
Here we are.
Lots of money you stole before we left Earth.
Stole is a very harsh word. I like to think of it as a business transaction.
What do you need it for now?
As you grow older, my boy, you realize that nothing in this or any other world is free.
With Fitzhugh, the first order of business is always money.
I searched all over, no sign of them.
Well, they both know the rules about leaving the camp without telling anyone.
At least Barry has the sense to follow them.
Unless Fitzhugh did a con job on him.
It wouldn't be the first time he did a con job on Barry, and they all know it. They also know that return to Earth is the magic incantation that instantly makes Fitzhugh revert to type. I suggest they get moving.
Were you going someplace, friend?
It'll take them a while to rig up something that can convince the badger to be elsewhere, so Fitzhugh has a free hand to betray everybody.
There he goes. Now, Barry, you stay here and guard the suitcase.
That's all?
That's no mean task. There's more than $500,000 in it.
Guard it from what? It's already been cat litter. I'm not sure how much worse it can get.
Hey, Steve. Maybe this will change that animal's mind about having us for lunch.
What is it?
Red pepper.
I'll tell you what. You hold his mouth open, I'll drop it in.
Don't think it'll work, huh?
I'd rather try it electrically.
Come here, Steve. We need to discuss how one talks to a lady. There's this thing called compressed air. You even have some on the ship and the ability to make more. Blow the pepper into his face. But it's just Betty. It's not like she's going to have a good idea. Instead, they'll hook up a couple of big electrodes and jab the badger with those. The electric shock chases it away. The pepper would have been just as effective and a lot less strenuous, but as I said, the tape recorder is still playing, even though we saw the senator turn it off when the piper left. Fitzhugh just reached it.
Hey, you're not supposed to shut that off.
Wait. I'm doing it for your own good.
My own good?
Of course. Now, wouldn't you be happy if you had a lot of brothers and sisters to talk to and play with?
Oh, I always wanted brothers and sisters to play with. I don't have anyone, you know, except Daddy. He's always busy.
Take it from me, there are advantages to being the only child, especially if your parents, or parent in this case, is reasonably well off. There are ways to deal with him always being busy, but this isn't one of them.
With all the meetings and business trips, he would have less on his mind if he wouldn't have to worry about you.
You really think he'd rather be without me?
No question about it. Then it's all settled, huh? You go with the piper?
No. I love my father, and I know he loves me. Staying right here with him.
Why, you ungrateful little boy.
Timmy understands that this isn't the way to deal with his dad's shortcomings. Too bad the recorder is already off and the piper has started playing.
Come along, Timmy.
Truthfully, I blame the senator. He knew this stuff was going on, but he went off and left the boy alone anyway. At the very least, he could have taken Timmy with him so he could keep an eye on him. But we know what's most important to that guy.
We're too late, Steve. Look.
What are you doing with my money?
Mr. Fitzhugh, how could you do this? You said you were going to help the others.
I am, Barry, I am. The first thing I was going to do when I get back to Earth was send a ship for the rest of you.
Send a ship where? You have no idea how to get here or get back or anything else. So that's bunk.
Because I want to get that boy back from him.
How?
Buy him. Where were we supposed to meet him?
In his office.
Where's that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Wait, my money! I think you're a piper.
The piper took Timmy over a lousy $4,000. Here's $500,000. Seems like a fair price to redeem him.
Tempting, very tempting. I'll tell you what. I have a counter proposition for you. I'll wager the boy against the money in a little sporting contest. Winner take all.
They say, forget it. Fitzhugh says, it's my money and I won't gamble with it. The piper says, if it's true that it belongs to him, then he's the one I have to deal with. Fitzhugh says, forget it, no deal. The piper says, let me show you how the game works. He blows his flute and the whole gang is suddenly there.
Suppose we start with the little dog. Come here, doggy.
Not Chipper.
Barry. I don't think you'd hesitate to squash any one of us.
A very accurate observation, my friend. Nice doggy.
Nobody agreed to this, not even Fitzhugh. He doesn't have a contract to play this game. It's basic cups and ball.
All right, Fitzhugh. Which one is he under?
I repeat, nobody agreed to this. He's breaking his own rule, as bullies like to do. He makes them guess, and the next thing we know, he's put both Chipper and Betty in his little satchel. Barry is next.
Fitzhugh, I don't want to go with him.
You'd love it, Barry. I understand it's a wonderful place.
Mr. Fitzhugh, I want to stay here.
As I said earlier, return to Earth are the magic words for Fitzhugh, but there's an even stronger incantation, another 3-word sentence that overrides every selfish impulse in him. That sentence is, Barry needs you.
Very well. You've got a wager. My money against Barry and Betty and Timmy and the dog.
Agreed.
But win or lose, I still get a ride back to Earth.
I can't believe he'd commit a final betrayal of Barry like that. He's got to be up to something.
I reserve the right to examine the cups before we start.
My pleasure.
I have a feeling this is a smokescreen. Probably so Steve can do whatever he did there. Fitzhugh studies the cups, double checks which one Barry is in, and is satisfied. Piper scrambles them, and Fitzhugh chooses.
This one.
Timmy is free, and so are the others. Fitzhugh kept his part of the deal, so it's time for the Piper to keep his.
How soon will we be back on Earth?
There will be a few stops along the way. I've lined up a couple of jobs in the constellation of Andromeda. Then there will be a stop in the Crab Nebula, and then a little business in the neighborhood of Alpha Centauri. We should be back on Earth long about the year 2743.
As he correctly points out, he just said he'd take him back. He didn't say when. As usual, Fitzhugh is so eager to save himself and go home rich, he didn't bother to read the fine print.
You, sir, are a cheat.
That's enough, Fitzhugh.
Unprincipled, unmitigated scoundrel. Fitzhugh.
You're only going to give him an excuse.
If I were your size, I'd thrash you for a despicable liar that you are.
He grabs a giant fly swatter and starts chasing him around the table. That's not what they need him to do, so they keep taunting him and provoking him. That's what they needed him to do, and now we have a fair idea what Steve did with that pipe.
He's gone.
What happened to the Piper? What made him howl like that?
Maybe somebody put something in his flute.
But what?
Red pepper.
I didn't see you do that.
That was kind of the idea. And by the way, that big smile is his way of apologizing for treating you like dirt earlier. There's just one more question that needs answering.
Well, I hate to give away a trade secret, but did you see a tiny scratch on the cup? Well, I made it with my watch when I was checking. That's how I knew.
Valerie says you took a chance, and he could come back, you know.
Take my word for it. He won't come back. A con man conned tends to be a very shy creature.
I'd like to say it was fun to see Jonathan Harris, but it really wasn't. This is typecasting at its worst, because not only is he playing an arrogant, selfish jerk again, the Pied Piper. Really? For those who don't know, the pied part refers to his multicolored clothes. Beyond that, shoehorning such a character into a science fiction show like this just seems absurd. You can make him into a powerful alien or whatever you want, but in the end it's still basically an Earth fairy tale that may or may not have any basis in real history. Much like the Time Traveler episodes, our group has plenty of exciting stuff to deal with right here on this planet. There's no need to go off-world to find plots. But for several episodes now, we haven't just gone off-world, we've gone off the rails. At times, being on the giant world is almost a minor plot device rather than the basic premise of the show. As I write this, I haven't watched the rest of the season yet, so I can't say whether it gets better or not. I guess there's only one way to find out. Look it up on IMDb. Wait. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click the thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, the button looks something like this. So click it and join our little family. There's a bell there that may or may not actually work to give you notifications when we post something, but it can't hurt to click it just in case. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Might have a tad better fashion? Something crazy that happened at school. Said that they just crazy. That's not what they. Okay. Oh, hiccup. And we know what put it. But because not only is he playing an. Okay. There's no H in playing. Okay. Damn. Hello, puppy. Anywhere's fine.
You can have a new co-host.
I see that.